Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive.
Always exciting to dive into a new book.
And this time we're taking a look at Chapter 1 of A Practical EmPath, Rewire Your Mind.
Oh, yeah, by Scott Howard Swain.
That's right. And in this chapter, Swain introduces his system of PEP.
Which stands for Practical Empathy Practice.
Practical Empathy Practice. That's quite a mouthful.
It is, but the concept itself is actually quite straightforward.
Okay, well, let's break it down for our listeners then. What exactly is PEP all about?
In essence, PEP is a framework for developing greater empathy.
Okay, empathy. We hear that word a lot these days, but what does it really mean in this context?
Well, Swain defines empathy as the ability to understand and share the feelings of others.
Okay, so it's not just about being nice or sympathetic.
Exactly. It goes deeper than that. It's about actually stepping into someone else's shoes and seeing the world from their perspective.
And how does PEP help us do that?
Well, it starts with self-awareness. Swain emphasizes that understanding ourselves is key to understanding others.
That makes sense. I mean, how can we truly understand someone else's emotions if we don't even understand our own?
Exactly. So PEP encourages us to explore our own feelings, values, and needs.
Okay, but how do we actually do that? I mean, feelings can be pretty complex.
Well, Swain provides a really practical framework. He suggests asking ourselves two key questions whenever something happens that triggers an emotional response.
Oh, I like where this is going. Tell me more about these questions.
The first question is, what words describe how I feel about this? So it's about really identifying and labeling our emotions.
Okay, that seems simple enough. What's the second question?
The second question is, what values or needs are driving those feelings? It's about digging a little deeper and understanding the root cause of our emotional response.
So it's about connecting the dots between our emotions and the deeper values that shape them.
You got it. It's about becoming our own emotional detectives.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So by understanding our own inner world, we're better equipped to understand the inner world of others.
Exactly, because we start to recognize those same needs and values in others, even when they express them differently.
So let's say I'm having a disagreement with someone and they're being really difficult.
Yeah.
How does understanding my own feelings and needs help me navigate that situation?
It allows you to see beyond the surface level behavior and understand what's driving their actions.
Can you give me an example?
Sure, imagine you're arguing with a coworker about a project. They seem angry and unreasonable, but if you can tap into that PEP framework, you might start to see that their anger stems from a fear of failure or a need for recognition.
Okay, that shifts the focus from judging their reaction to understanding the underlying motivation.
And that's a crucial shift because it allows us to approach the situation with more empathy and compassion.
But does that mean I have to agree with them? Because let's be honest, sometimes people are just wrong.
And that's where Swain makes a really important distinction. He says that acceptance doesn't equal agreement.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more about that.
He argues that we can accept someone's feelings and needs without condoning their actions or agreeing with their perspective.
So it's like saying, I understand why you're upset, but I don't agree with the way you're handling it.
Exactly. It's about acknowledging their emotional experience without necessarily endorsing their behavior.
And that can be really helpful in navigating difficult conversations because it allows us to stay connected even when we disagree.
You're catching on quickly. This is exactly what Swain emphasizes. It's about finding that balance between honoring our own truth and respecting the other person's perspective.
So PEP isn't about suppressing our own feelings or giving in to someone else's demands.
No, it's about finding a space where we can acknowledge each other's humanity, even when we disagree.
That's pretty powerful. So we've covered self-awareness and acceptance. What else does PEP teach us?
Well, another key concept is authenticity. Swain argues that when we understand and accept our own feelings and needs, we're more likely to express ourselves in a way that's true to ourselves.
So it's about being genuine and not trying to be someone we're not.
That's the idea. And it's also about setting boundaries.
Boundaries, yes. I think a lot of people struggle with that, especially when it comes to saying no.
Definitely. Swain offers a really simple but effective technique for setting boundaries. He suggests replacing phrases like, I need to, with I will.
I never thought of that. Can you give me an example?
Sure, imagine a friend invites you to a party, but you really need to catch up on work. Instead of saying, sorry, I need to work tonight, try saying, thanks for the invite, but I will be working tonight.
Wow, that's a subtle shift, but it does sound more confident and in control.
Exactly. It's a way of owning your choice and setting a clear boundary without coming across as defensive or dismissive.
I like it. So PEP is about understanding myself, accepting others, and expressing myself authentically. That's a lot to unpack from just one chapter.
And I've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore, but what stands out to you so far?
Honestly, I'm surprised by how practical Swain's approach is. It's not just a bunch of vague self-help platitudes. He actually gives us concrete tools and techniques we can use in our daily lives.
That's one of the things I appreciate about his work. He really emphasizes the practical application of these concepts, and that's why he calls it practical empathy practice.
Right, so it's not just about reading a book and feeling good. It's about actually putting these principles into practice.
And that's where the real transformation happens.
I'm excited to dive deeper into this. I have a feeling PEP has a lot more to teach us.
It definitely does, and I can't wait to explore it further with you.
Well, then let's take a quick break and come back ready to uncover more of Swain's insights.
Sounds good. I'm ready for more PEP wisdom.
You know, one thing that really stood out to me in this chapter is how Swain talks about curiosity.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, he doesn't just tell us to be more curious. He actually reframes it as a habit, something we can cultivate.
A habit. I like that.
Yeah,
Makes it
but-
seem more attainable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not some innate quality you either have or you don't. It's a skill you can develop with practice.
So how do we actually practice curiosity according to Swain?
He suggests using what he calls a guess via question format.
Guess via question.
What's that?
It's pretty straightforward. Instead of assuming we know why someone is acting a certain way, we ask questions to try and understand their perspective.
So instead of jumping to conclusions, we pause and get curious.
Exactly. It's about shifting from judgment to inquiry.
Okay, I can see how that would be helpful. But can you give me an example of what this would look like in real life?
Sure. Let's say your boss is being particularly short with you today. Instead of thinking, "Ooh, she's in a bad mood again," you could try asking, "Is there anything I can do to help alleviate some of the pressure you're feeling today?"
Ah, I see. So it's about expressing concern and showing a genuine interest in their well-being.
Exactly. And by phrasing it as a question, you open up a dialogue and invite them to share their perspective.
That's so much better than just stewing in my own resentment.
Right. It's about choosing curiosity over judgment.
You know, this reminds me of the saying, know thy enemy. Could this PEP system even help me understand people I don't particularly like or agree with?
That's a really interesting question, and you're not the first to ask it. In fact, Swain dedicates an entire chapter later in the book to the idea of empathizing with your enemies.
Whoa, now that's a deep dive I'd love to take. But for now, I'm still grappling with the sheer scope of benefits Swain lays out in this first chapter. We're talking self-awareness, acceptance, authenticity winning arguments, and now even lie detection. It's almost overwhelming.
It is a lot to take in, but that's the beauty of PEP. It's not just about improving one specific area of your life. It's about creating a ripple effect of positive change that touches everything from our relationships to our communication to our sense of self.
Hold on, we need to circle back to that lie detection thing.
Huh.
How does empathy make us better at spotting lies?
Think of it this way. The more attuned we become to people's genuine feelings and values, the more likely we are to notice inconsistencies between their words and their actions.
So basically, by becoming more empathetic, we develop a sort of sixth sense for authenticity.
Exactly. It's not about learning some secret code or trick. It's about deepening our understanding of human behavior through empathy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've convinced me PEP sounds pretty amazing. But let's get practical. Can you walk me through some examples of how to actually apply this in real-life situations?
Absolutely. Swain provides some great sample conversations throughout the chapter. Remember the cake scenario?
Oh yeah, the classic.
Yeah.
You ate the last piece of cake without asking. You're so inconsiderate outburst.
Right. Now imagine instead of getting defensive, the cake eater responds with, "You wanted some cake. So when you saw the last piece was gone, were you disappointed because you value thoughtfulness and consideration?"
Okay, I see how that completely changes the dynamic. It shifts from blame and accusation to understanding.
Exactly. And Swain offers variations for different scenarios, like forgetting an anniversary or feeling neglected in a relationship. He shows how a PEP approach can transform potentially explosive situations into opportunities for connection.
I'm starting to see the light, but I have to admit, some of those responses sound a little, well, clinical. Like, who talks like that in real life?
Swain acknowledges that. He calls those initial examples clinical to illustrate the underlying principles. But he also provides more natural versions of those conversations.
Oh, good, because I was picturing myself saying, you forgot our anniversary. Are you feeling neglectful because you undervalue commitment? Not exactly smooth?
I can see why that wouldn't go over well. But the key takeaway is to move away from blame and judgment towards curiosity and understanding.
So it's not about memorizing a script. It's about approaching conversations with a more empathetic mindset. Can you give me an example of a more natural PEP response?
Sure, let's revisit that cake scenario. Instead of that clinical response, imagine the cake eater simply says, "Was it annoying to see the last piece of cake was gone?"
Ooh, I like that. It acknowledges the other person's feelings without sounding like a robot.
Exactly. And from there, they can continue to ask questions based on the other person's responses, gradually building towards a deeper understanding.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. It's not about shoehorning in PEP phrases. It's about having a genuine conversation guided by curiosity and empathy.
You got it. It's about being present, listening actively, and asking questions that help us connect on a deeper level.
This is honestly making me rethink my whole approach to communication. It's not just about getting my point across. It's about truly understanding where the other person is coming from.
And that's where PEP's true power lies. It's not a manipulative tactic, it's a genuine shift in perspective that can lead to more fulfilling relationships and a deeper sense of connection.
This has been eye-opening. We've covered so much self-awareness, acceptance, authenticity, curiosity, winning arguments, lie detection, and now even the idea of empathizing with our enemies. What other gems does Swain have in store for us?
Well, one that really resonated with me is the idea that PEP can help us become more present and patient.
Okay, I'm all ears. Patience is definitely something I could use more of in my life.
Right, who couldn't?
Yeah.
Swain points out that practicing PEP naturally leads to increased patience.
Oh, how so?
Well, it requires us to slow down, listen actively, and really tune into the other person's experience.
So you're so focused on understanding them that you forget about your own impatience.
Exactly. And being present in the moment is a powerful antidote to worry and anxiety. If you're fully engaged in the now, you can't be dwelling on the past or fretting about the future.
Wow, so PEP is like a mindfulness practice in disguise.
You could say that. It definitely cultivates a heightened awareness of both ourselves and others. And this awareness can have a ripple effect on all aspects of our lives, from our relationships to our overall sense of well-being.
It's like Swain is giving us the tools to become calmer, more connected, and more compassionate human beings.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And there's one more benefit he highlights that I find particularly intriguing: letting go.
Letting go, as in letting go of grudges or anxieties or that last piece of cake.
All of the above, Swain suggests that as we become more accepting of ourselves and others, and as we learn to be more present in the moment, we naturally develop a greater capacity for letting go.
So it's not about forcing ourselves to let go. It's about creating the conditions where letting go becomes easier and more natural.
Precisely. And when we're able to let go of things that no longer serve us, we create space for new possibilities and experiences.
This is incredible. We've gone from winning arguments to becoming lie detectors to achieving a state of Zen-like letting go. PEP is like a Swiss Army knife for personal growth.
I love that analogy. It's a versatile system that can be applied to so many different aspects of life. And the best part is it's not about memorizing a bunch of rules or techniques. It's about cultivating a new way of thinking and being.
So where do we go from here? How do we start putting all of this wisdom into practice?
Well, Swain provides some really insightful exercises at the end of the chapter. He encourages us to reflect on our own values and needs to practice reframing judgments and to experiment with using PEP in real-life conversations.
Like he's giving us homework.
Yeah.
I'm up for the challenge. I'm ready to start rewiring my mind for greater empathy and connection.
That's the spirit. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. Be patient with yourself. Embrace the process, and most importantly, have fun with it.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty empowered after this deep dive. PEP is a game changer.
I couldn't agree more. It's a powerful framework for personal growth and transformation. And as Swain reminds us, when you know yourself, you're empowered. When you accept yourself, you're invincible.
So go forth and be invincible, listeners. And if you're looking for a guide on this journey of self-discovery and empathy, I highly recommend checking out A Practical EmPath by Scott Howard Swain.
It's a treasure trove of wisdom and practical tools. And remember, even small steps towards greater empathy can have a profound impact on your life and the lives of those around you.
On that note, we'll leave you with a final thought from Swain himself. He asks, think of a past conflict where you were attached to being right. Looking back, can you imagine responding in a way that focuses on shared values rather than winning? How might that have improved the outcome?
It's a powerful question to ponder as you embark on your own PEP journey. So until next time, keep diving deep, keep learning, and keep growing.
And keep those empathy muscles flexed. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.